At that point, did you kind of realize that the luck was falling your way and you really had a chance to shot at a podium?
Well, I knew it wasn't going against us this time, so that was positive. And I knew that when we made the decision to pit, James was really struggling. So we pitted not because we were anticipating a yellow. We pitted because we wanted to get clean air. And we made the most of the outlap because we jumped all the guys that stayed a lap longer than us. And so that was really the key moment of the race. And then the yellow coming was just good fortune. And we've had enough bad fortune that it was nice to finally get it.
Yes, Bruce.
Also, you had some company there with teammates Ryan Hunter-Reay and Marco Andretti up there in the top 6. How important is that, backing it up with your effort?
Oh, it's hugely important. As we always say at Andretti, when one car finishes or one car's doing well, kind of all cars rise, and I think there was a really good example of that today. And yeah, like I mentioned before, the difficulties that we had last year, especially in Toronto, they were pretty significant. So to rebound like we have is pretty incredible and something that's very hard to do in this championship and the sport in general. And I think the addition of Eric Bretzman and Jeremy Millis have been huge in the contribution to that. And I feel like we have a really good group of people, and we're making progress every weekend, and that's what you got to do.
Yes. John.
A lot was made about the weather going into today for both the drivers and the fans. Despite the fact that it didn't downpour, there was trickles here and there. How much was the threat, though, of a storm, that western front they were talking about on the radar, playing a factor on the course and in your mind?
It wasn't playing a factor on the course, but in my mind it definitely was. I mean, turn 6 was getting really dark, and I was just waiting to come through there one lap and it just be completely wet. I mean, it was dark clouds and there was a little bit of specks of rain on the visor. So when you're at the limit in these cars, on these types of tracks, that can be very detrimental, or it can be very positive depending on what end of it you are. So we're paying very close attention to it, and I'm just happy that it held off for the fans. I would have loved to have been able to drive in the wet. I think we could have closed on Joseph if that was the case, but it was a great show for the fans and a huge turnout, and really happy to be here in Toronto.
Patrick.
Alexander, were you surprised that the race went green so long at the end there? It looked like it was getting treacherous just to keep the car on the track, and the marbles were, and comment on the marbles, please, but with the marble and everything else, are you surprised we didn't get another yellow towards the end?
Not really. I mean, with the quality of drivers in this field, I mean, there's been a lot of races we've gone green to checkered without any yellows, so no, I'm not surprised at all. I mean, when you see how close it is in qualifying, how quick everyone is, and the level of performance that everyone seems to have, it's what you got to do now. You got to train for that. You got to mentally be ready for that, and you got to have a car that can do it as well, because you don't have the ability much anymore to recover the tires under yellow, and you got to be able to manage the tires and the thermal degradation that you get as well. So I forget the other part of your question. Right, yeah, no, I mean, the marbles were bad. I mean, I think they're bad everywhere. I mean, that's just part of the sport, and when there isn't a yellow and a chance for the sweepers to get on track, it makes overtaking pretty difficult when it's already pretty hard. So it's just something you got to deal with. It's the same for everyone.
Yes, sir.
With you and James and Joseph pitting earlier than everyone else, how much of a concern was fuel at the end, or when did you find out that fuel wasn't going to be a concern?
Yeah, I mean, it was something we were paying attention to, and we had to hit a number. It wasn't insane, and the Honda engine is pretty good at fuel mileage and still being able to run at a pretty decent performance. So yeah, we were saving, but it wasn't anything that was too difficult to achieve. And with about 5 laps to go in the final stint, I got the go ahead, and that's when we started to close on Joseph again. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough. He was so strong all day that it was going to take something pretty significant for us to pass him, but gave it our best shot.
Bruce.
2 quick questions. One, between you and Joseph, you're both considered 2 of the young stars of the series. This could be the first of many battles that you guys have throughout your career. How important is it to see drivers of your age group out there winning races, fighting for victories? Then I got a follow-up.
Yeah, it's very important. The crazy thing is the old guys of you are still pretty damn fast. So figuring out how to beat them in qualifying is something that we got to do and keep working on. But Yeah, I mean, it's important that the young guys are getting results, right? Because that's is what's going to keep the sport growing and moving forward in the progression that it is going at the moment. So it's great to see Joseph doing so well. You know, I'm chasing that next win. He's gotten a couple more than I have, so we'll keep working at it. But yeah, like I said, I mean, there's a lot of really good guys in the championship, so it's good to just be able to be in range and within fighting shot of getting wins.
And looking ahead to Mid-Ohio, what's your outlook on that track? How much did you like racing there last year?
Mid-Ohio was one of the only tracks that I knew last year, so I liked it a lot more than all the other places because I wasn't guessing where I was going on Friday morning. So I'm looking forward to getting back there and improving on what we had. It was the first time I think that we made the top 12 in qualifying in Mid-Ohio last year. So you know, that was one of our better races. So I think that with the improvements that we've seen this year, we can expect to hopefully be in the top 6, and qualifying is very important there. As we all know, it's hard to pass. So we need to focus on that and hopefully be in the top 3 in qualifying and go from there.